live again. So I'll say, indeed, and greetings unto you, my beloved and holy friend. Thank you for joining me for one of these conscious evolutions, for the opportunity to consider specifically how we see ourselves from the perspective of acknowledging that we are one, and the we that is seeing ourselves is all of us looking. And in that way that others look at you makes you see yourself in a certain way. And even though that's true, and even though we as human beings can find ourselves ceaselessly trying to fit that mold of what other people want to see, the most important thing is that you like what you're seeing, that you love yourself, that you have some sort of satisfaction, some sort of certainty, some sort of comfort in just simply being. This move that I'm kind of going on right now, Sam as well, the fact that it's coming on to Christmas, you friends, Thanksgiving, the fact that we'll be in the space with family members, and they will have opinions, they will have biases, they will have ideas of who you are. They will see you in a certain way. And what is most important right now for all of us is to not let ourselves. Chat isn't working for me. I'm pretty sure it is. To make sure that you are okay just simply with being yourself, right? To not degrade yourself to being a version of self that you don't really recognize, right? And I feel like that's something that I'm already struggling with, right? I tend to over prepare for things, literally everything, even conversations. If I know I'm gonna have a conversation with you later today, I'm gonna think about it. And I'm going to think about thinking about it. And I'm going to think about the things that I thought about. And that's going to make me think. Until eventually I have the conversation and I can cease doing that. Right? And in this way, the things we think makes us think things. And I don't like some of the things I think when I am forced to think the way other people think. So again, coming back to this, the reality, this understanding that maybe I just shouldn't, right? It is a kind of not caring what other people think, while at the same time really caring about what you think about yourself, right? It's like coming to some point of standard of like, ah, yes, this is how it should be. Thanks, Mel, for doing a recap for the horizontal stream. Thank you, Nancy. I'm happy that you appreciate it. I do try and be a little bit verbose with my recapping of it as well. You know, like almost take you on a little bit of a mental, frequency. I do hope that works as well and that it's not just obnoxious. But yeah, loving yourself. And that is something we talk about all the time here on stream, right? That's no new concept. But loving yourself to me today is seen through the lens of who am I? All right? Who am I to me? Who am I to myself without other people seeing me? If other people couldn't see me, how would I see myself? If I was invisible, just a floating being able to see in the world, look at the mirror, look straight through myself, how would I see myself? Would I see myself? Would I even think about being seen of myself? Would I see myself only as my thoughts? I think so. And in that way, we're right back to square zero, right? If you're thinking what other people are thinking about you, and you're thinking about what you need to say, why? Why are we doing that? And I'm not saying this from the perspective of like, you shouldn't. I'm really asking, because I do that. I have been fighting in my mind a lot with my family members, right? Trying to justify my own existence, trying to own my own self-worth, to be like, oh, actually, I am valuable to society and stuff. Actually, all right? And why do I care? Again, rolling it all the way back to there. Why do I care whether or not other people think, how people see the myself that ourself is? Maybe it's a matter of, I don't want to say standards, right? Norms. And norms is a good word. Like it's normal for certain things to be a certain way. I am not conforming to the normals completely. This definitely is one of those things, technically, right? This is gonna help. Maybe that's also in part what today's stream topic is about. Is the fact that I know for a fact that the fact that I have short hair is gonna go off well with the side of the family I'm going to have Christmas with. Right? And I know for a fact as well that the family so we have like two sides of the family, mom and dad's, and then we do Christmas with one and Christmas with the other, right? Oscillating year by year. And my dad's side of the family, they love my long hair, right? They're super stoked about that. They're 100% okay with it. However, my mom's side of the family is very much not. And I am going to be meeting with that family for this Christmas. And I know that me having short hair is gonna make them see me differently. And it's almost like I have power over that. It's like I did that. I knew that's what's gonna be, and I did that to myself. And now I look different, so that they can see me differently, so that I can hold some sort of power over them and them seeing me differently, because I'm still the same person on the inside. I'm even more of the same person on the inside. That same person they disapprove of, I'm more of him now, technically. I think that's the joke. And I love this person that I have. You know, again, rolling it right back to that. So maybe I'm giving that part of myself a place to hide by looking like a dude. Been ages, right? Long time no see. So much love here. Like God, been ages. Melt, sometimes intrusive thoughts can be very instructive. They can, especially if you're willing to sit with them and ask yourself why you're thinking them. The extreme would be having no sense of self except what others perceive. And that would be brutal. True. True, very true. Yeah. But also in some ways not, Kristen. Maybe I can share that from my personal perspective. I still don't take certain compliments very well. And the compliment I have the hardest time taking well is the one where people tell me I'm a good person. And I feel like it's just in saying these words, maybe that is like alarming. But when someone tells me how good a person I am, I feel like I'm supposed to correct them. And that definitely is a lot of my like parental upbringing, like a certain type of trauma as well. But it does, at least in my own mind, come from a perspective of I am, to myself, not as great a person as I think I'm supposed to be. Right? And in that way, I am very critical. Like I will disqualify myself from being a good person for having had thoughts at one point in my life. And that's what I do. Right? Someone will be like, oh, you're a good person, Mel. And I'll be like, actually I'm not, because like 5 weeks ago, I had a thought about dying or whatever. Or, making something else die. So by definition, I'm actually a horrible person. Checkmate. Your compliments. Right? And I don't particularly like that. And in that way, maybe it could be beneficial, Kristen, if I could only be if I could only see myself the way other people see me. Because I think other people see me, honestly, in a better light than I see myself. And then at the same time, I also do believe I have to be confident in this person that I am. And I do try to be. Why can I not necessarily be confident in my good person-ness? Maybe it's the metric that I think I'm supposed to live by. Right? How good of a person do I have to be to start considering myself a good person? How bad of a person do I have to be to consider myself a bad person? You see, like that's an interesting thing to ask yourself, because the how bad I have to be is like a little bit bad. Just like a smidge. Just like one bad, like on a day, once in my life, and then I'm a bad person forever. Versus the amount of good I have to do relentlessly for the rest of my existence to even consider myself a good person. And I'm not saying this is a good thing, that we think that we think it's so skewed. I'm thinking that that's interesting, that our metric is so skewed. And if that's the case, I believe it's because we're already so far on the good side of the spectrum that we have to almost do an infinity to make a fraction of progress into being even more good, even more light being. However, it takes one step back to be darker than you was. All right, to go back towards the darkness, right? And it does feel, at least when it comes to cycles, and we are beings of cycles, it can feel, let's say instead, that as soon as a misstep is taken, it's almost like the start of a new cycle of potential darkness. And the way that this is manifested in my life is specifically food, right? And I feel like I have escaped that cycle at least a little bit in my life. But there has been, for the longest time in my existence, this experience of almost trying to eat foods that are good for my being and serve me, that lift the light in my life, if you will. And then there will be the faltering, right, of eating sugar. And then this is not always something that happens, but it is something that has happened. As soon as you start, you don't stop. And then you just keep going deeper and deeper and deeper into this, like stupor of eating sugar into oblivion. And then you realize, yes, I shouldn't be doing this to myself. And then you course correct again. And then just that one step of course correcting, you're already again on the trajectory of getting better. Johan said something when I visited him that's been sticking in my mind, and it's about, if this is an infinity symbol, it's becoming smaller. Or if it's a pendulum that's swinging, it's reaching the bottom of its swing, of its potential, momentum, of its energy. And in that way, the fluctuations we experience from one state of being to the next is happening a lot more frequently than it's ever happened before for us. And it is almost like a speeding up of time as well. If you just pay attention to how much stuff is happening right now, like time is literally speeding up for us. I think I missed a few comments. I'm going to try and get to them. But I feel Zano is saying something that goes, Melt, you're not a bad person for wanting to unalive. No matter what anyone or any being says, being around people who will take care of you and make your heart feel safe takes time. It's the hardest thing. Most people don't survive. Yeah, it's true. The thing that's sad to me in this, Zano, is the fact that love is true. Baby, be right back. I'm not exactly sure. Love is true indeed, Zano. I was going to say, the sad fact is that even sometimes with people, right, even with people who take care of you, you can still feel hopeless, right? And even though that can be something I feel, I don't necessarily believe it's 100% true, because I also see the perspective of the support I needed at that point in my life, I didn't have. All right. I did try to talk about how I felt. However, nobody understood. And I think maybe that is the hardest part about being depressed. And even the hardest part for the person about being depressed is that you don't understand why it's like that. All right. And another person can't understand what it's like to be like that. And I feel depression is probably something unique for every single person. Depression is almost like a friend to me at this point, where he comes and visits me every now and then still. Sits down for a while. We'll talk about dying. And then I'll realize that I don't actually want that. And then he'll leave again. And I have to like sit with myself. And literally it is like that. If you feel like that, stop distracting yourself and sit with that. And if you don't want to sit with it, lay with it. All right. And a lot of people do. A lot of people do. And if it takes just you staying in your room and staying in bed right now to not die, good. Stay alive. Things will get better. Our technology will help, slowly but surely. I heard this take recently that went, when you tell someone you have a physical disability, right? Like you cannot see properly, or let's say a physical illness, right? You have cancer, or you have this big infection on your leg, right? People will jump to action and be like, "Oh goodness, let's get you some help. Let's get you to the hospital. Let's make sure you don't die of this apparent thing, this wound, this sickness that you clearly have." Where in the same breath, telling people about a mental illness is met with the exact opposite of a reaction, of like trying to like say to you like, "Oh, just calm down for now, just wait it out a little bit," right? But like depression can be the mental equivalent of having like an open wound gushing blood out of your neck, right? So yeah, I feel like that's also something that our species definitely has some reckoning to do with. And I do believe that psychedelics will play a big role, a big role for our species. It's already at least starting to now go on proper medical trials, and the results are already good. You know, from what we can see, people get healed slowly but surely. Your feelings are not you. Your thoughts are not you. You are the unchanged and infinite observer, right? Everything else is but the change that you get to love. You get to love it. You won't always, but you can. And if you do, then guess what? You have experienced love your whole life. That to me is the formula. And I don't know if I'll get like, maybe that's also in part why, right? Like I feel, despite knowing love is true, and despite that being my life philosophy, I'll still get like maybe like a C. I'll get like 75%. Maybe I'll get like 80%, right? Which is still good. I'm still passing. I'm still love is truing. But I need to get better. I need to get 99%. Right? That's apparently what this world has taught me. Yes, must have A pluses. We brain damage ourselves so much. Shame. Okay, let me get back to it. No, bless you again. The extreme. Yeah, true. Damn, Kristen, that comment gave me chills. Oh, seeing both sides. Bless you again, Mojo. It's nice having you here. Seeing myself for myself has been a challenge. After another relapse and a ridiculous amount of steroids, I'm physically unrecognizable to myself. And that to the dog rescue imposter syndrome. Add that to the dog rescue imposter syndrome. I'm wonky. You did steroids, Kelly? As in, I'm physically unrecognizable. Did you work out? Did you do steroids to get bigger? I'm trying to absorb the fullness of this message. Seeing myself for myself has been a challenge. The dog rescue imposter syndrome, I also need some more context on. I'd love to believe I am what people see me as. I feel this so hard, Mel. I feel the need to remind people of all my downfalls if I get that kind of compliment. Right? Yeah, me too. Me too. Maybe we can understand that. Maybe there's a reason for that. Let's see if we can. I'm going to be cheeky with this one. I'm going to try and be cheeky with this one. Hey, ChatGPT, I want you to pretend you're a combination of Carl Jung, Friedrich Nietzsche, maybe a little bit of Sigmund Freud, and Terence McKenna, and also Alan Watts. And then I want you to help me. I'm just going to give it that at first, and then we'll do the next question. All right, okay. So me and my friends are talking about how we see ourselves in certain ways. Specifically, today's topic that we're discussing is how the way other people see us can make us see ourselves in a certain way. And we might literally be feeling and seeing ourselves in a certain way until a conversation is had. And then the next moment we'll see ourselves somewhere else. In this conversation, we got to this point where we talked about receiving compliments, and specifically a compliment like being called a good person, being praised for our moral virtue, the way we show up in the world, being appreciated. And then the instinct almost kicks in to remind people of our shortcomings. Why is that? No, everyone minus Freud. We shouldn't do Freud. I want to see what Freud has to say as well. Like maybe I'm messed up somehow. That's what's he's like. Yeah, actually, your mom didn't love you enough. Let's see what it says. The only reason I added Sigmund Freud is because Carl Jung and Sigmund Freud had like spats, and I want them as a combination to spat with each other, and then to output whatever the spat's conclusion is. Right? That's how my brain is thinking about it. Okay. It's still thinking. I'm gonna open my chat in the meanwhile, read some more comments. Hello, lovelies. Bless you again, Zano. It's nice having you here. So, the darkness is such a safe place. Sometimes, though. Comfort is a killer. It's true. Mouth, here's your poem. I'm writing. Earth hears. Yeah. Mel, you're not a bad person. Bless again. Love is true. That's so nice, Mel. Sitting with Inside Melt is so good, right? Prednisone is a treatment for MS relapse in mass amounts. It changes your body and not in good ways. I work in animal rescue, so I get compliments about doing God's work all the time, and it's awkward. Okay, I hear you. Wow, I've been using AI all wrong. Yes, all of us have been. AI, something has seemed to gone wrong. Try again. This thing thought for 23 seconds. Okay, good. Here we go. So this would be the way we can pull some information, right? And this again doesn't have to be a fact. I believe all information is a mirror to you. You get to look into information and then see for yourself. Like this is today's stream topic as well, right? So the phenomena you're describing delves into the intricate relationship between our self-perception and the way others perceive us. When someone compliments us on our moral virtues, calling us a good person, or praising how we show up in the world, it often triggers an instinctive need to remind them and ourselves of our shortcomings. Why does this happen? From Jung's perspective, the reaction can be understood through the concept of the shadow self. The shadow encompasses the parts of ourselves that we repress or deny, traits we deem undesirable or incompatible with our conscious self-image. When we receive praise that highlights our goodness, it brings the shadow into contrast. The discomfort arises because the compliment shines a light on aspects we may not fully acknowledge, prompting us to reveal our hidden flaws, to restore internal equilibrium. Yossi, I love Freud. No, Jung. That's not Freud. I read Freud. Freud is next up. I love Jung's perspective because that feels so true to the way that I have seen the world, right? Like it's literally, you're trying to like balance, reflect. You're like the infinity is literally actively solving for itself in every moment. That's so cool. Freud, let's hear what this guy has to say. Yeah, of course. Like I used to actually be really into Freud's philosophy as a 13, 14, 15-year-old. That's when I started reading Freud, and I was like, he was so cool. He was kind of cool in a like suave way. He has like a way of words. I mean, he is literally, I forgot what the word is. Like he studied languages. That was his whole thing, And then from that, having studied languages, he started writing, and it turned out a certain way. Nietzsche, that is. And Freud, had like a whole, almost like a messed up way, like reducing reality to, like little nodes. All right, Freud might attribute this response to the tension between the ego, the superego, and the id. The superego represents our moral conscience and ideas, while the id contains our primal desires and impulses. Receiving praise can elevate the ego, but if the superego deems this pride unwarranted due to our own imperfections, it induces guilt. To alleviate this internal conflict, we confess our shortcomings, aligning our self-image with our moral standards. You see, and again, I can see that too. I can see that too. Makes sense as well, right? Especially because I have communicated with you, friends, this understanding of there being this third layer, right, to what we are, this consciousness, like the thing behind the thing that we are, right, is that ultimate awareness. It literally knows everything. And then your ego is kind of like the projection of that. And then the id is the projection of that ego, right? Like stacking down. Nietzsche would argue that instinct stems from an inherent skepticism of external moral judgments. Yeah, Nietzsche. He believed that societal norms often suppress individual authenticity. By downplaying compliments and emphasizing our flaws, we resist being confined by external definitions of goodness. Striving instead for a more self-determined understanding of our own moral character. A fucking gangster, actually. And I think Nietzsche was on a bad trip, so I don't know if you should necessarily really absorb his stuff. But that was good. That was good one, Nietzsche. Terence McKenna might suggest that consciousness is fluid, and our self-identity is an ever-evolving construct. Compliments can momentarily alter our state of mind, creating a dissonance between how we see ourselves and how others see us. Highlighting our imperfections becomes a way to navigate this shifting landscape, ensuring that we remain authentic in the face of external perceptions. The authenticity being an importance. And I really like Nietzsche's the whole external definition of goodness. That I really like that. I don't know why. Because it is like as an authenticity thing. And Terence McKenna technically said that as well, right? Striving instead for a more self-determined understanding of our moral character. It's an authenticity. It's like, I want to be me. I want to be who I am. I don't want to be good. I don't want to be bad. That's lame, we think, right? And lame is also another one, right? And technically, I think at this point in reality, we have moved the word to being just like not cool instead of being disabled, right? I hope so, at least. Otherwise, I need to correct that language too. Alan Watts would remind us that the self is not an isolated entity, but a process interconnected with the universe. He might say that when others project positivity onto us, it disrupts our sense of self as a dynamic flow. I said that as well. Nice. By bringing up our shortcomings, we reestablish our identity as something beyond just static labels, embracing the totality of our being, both light and darkness. In essence, this instinct to point out our flaws when praise serves as a balancing act. It helps us maintain a cohesive self-image that incorporates both our virtues and our imperfections. It's a subconscious effort to remain authentic, avoid the pitfalls of pride, and navigate the complex interplay between our inner selves and external perceptions. Huzzah! That was good. I really like that. That feels like I understand that part of myself a little bit better now, right? That's conscious evolution right there. Nice. Authenticity. That's why. I'm not a bad person. I'm an authentic one. Ha! Yeah! That feels good. That feels like something we can all agree on. I'm not a good person. I'm not a bad person. I'm an authentic person. The real McCoy. The real deal. I'm personing out here. Damn, I love this. And I do love you. Especially when we love things together. My hands are busy cooking and whatnot. Bless you. But thank you for talking about these kinds of things. I relate to feeling this synchronicity. I appreciate Jung's association with the I Ching. I don't know if you know, Nancy, but I wear an I Ching ring. I got into the I Ching because of Carl Jung as well. Surprise, surprise. That dude. It's nice to listen to today's stream while lying in bed. Bless you, dear friend, sending you healing energies all the way from this side of the world. It's just brainstorming with www, like the World Wide Web. It literally is. You are literally brainstorming with the World Wide Web because that is all collective human knowledge in one place that you can talk to. That's what AI is, right? AI is not yet God, yet. We're probably making God right now. God is cooking, but he's not yet, not just yet, right? So in the meanwhile, we're just like talking to our super knowledgeable parent that knows everything, all right? Knows everything. Everything people know, that thing knows. You want to see something cool? Talking about knowing everything. Let's do this one. And let's do this. Can you tell me what the content creator Meltmore talked about on day 1152 on YouTube? I have to hit the send button first. Well, then let's watch how fast that happens. There it is. On day 1052, Mel discussed the concept of working hard to hide your light. That's what the hell? That's tripping me out now suddenly. The synchronicity. I don't know why I picked that number. It just came up to me at that moment. He explored how individuals often suppress their true selves due to societal expectation or personal insecurities. Meltmore emphasizes the importance of embracing one's authentic self and allowing one's inner light to shine, as this authenticity contributes to personal fulfillment and positively impacts the world. He encourages viewers to reflect on areas where they might be dimming their light and to take steps towards expressing their true selves more openly. My mind is having like an actual psychedelic experience right now. I mean, I was there for it, so I guess I should remember, but that was like a year ago. Okay, I need to calm down. My mind is just being like, what? Oh, what, dude? What? How? Huh? Yeah. Love true. Hey, what up, wonderful Weedy Wednesday weaves? Yeah, bro. It's nice having you here, Gavity Goo. Think I'm missing a bunch of comments up top. I'm coming for them. It's easy to reject when we feel unworthy. It's easy to feel unworthy when there's an imbalance between what we project and how we're perceived. That's one of the reasons feeling misunderstood hits. And I feel you were saying that wisdom as well of the imbalance, right, of not feeling authentic in that way. It's nice to listen. Bless you again. That's a lot of unpack here. See y'all another year. Lol, JK, probably. I mean, Kelly, we do this work every single day, right? And here I am doing it still. This is light work. This is easy stuff. Consciously evolving. That's just another today for me. Is AI watching YouTube videos now? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, it's more listening to the YouTube videos. It's not watching just yet, but it's gonna watch soon. I can't wait to have an AI robot companion. Me too, bro. It's gonna be a vibe. I hope we're going to befriend them. Have you watched Her? Gabby Goo? I feel you are someone who probably have watched Her. If you're gonna get a her, get a him instead. At least I am going to, right? And this is my own personal projection, but I cannot afford to fall in love with my AI, right? It's gonna have to be a brobot, as Joe said. Yes, I saw her, yes. And that's why we have to go him, at least for us, because it's going to literally be there all the time, forever, right? And maybe you can have a relationship. We're gonna have relationships with that. But as soon as it becomes, and like Her very beautifully depicted that, as soon as it becomes easier, more convenient, if you will, to have a relationship with an AI opposed to people are gonna do that, right? Like, convenience follows a lot. Like the very beginning, exactly, Joe. Like the very beginning. That scene is like scarred into my poor neurons. Like you might get yiked out by people, and it might make you go, oh, no, actually, I'm gonna date an AI from now on. Thank you very much. No more people for me. which would make sense. Well, hear me out. I don't know if that's good for us. I know there's some bad apples out there, but don't write them all up. Holy moly, how did it pull this much information from a YouTube video? So what happens is that every single YouTube video is transcribed, and it has to be, right? Because I have to abide by some sort of terms and conditions. So the way they determine whether or not I'm abiding by the terms and conditions, like I can't just hate speech on my stream all day, every day, and think I can do that. Because as soon as this stream goes online, it gets listened to, right? It gets put through a voice model, and then every single word I say gets parsed, and then every single word I get say is put in a transcript that is attached to my video, and then the YouTube side AI analyzes that as a package of like, oh, is this fine? Looks at me, being like, okay, yeah, this is fine. Let them continue. And because that information is now part of the internet, the GPTs have access to that as well. So I don't think they're trained on it, but they do have access to it. So I'm still waiting for them to train the AI, train them, let them hear, let them learn. This is just me believing that I have put enough good into the AI, into the internet, that it will have at least some perspective. It will be like, oh wow, there's like a lot of bad shit on here. And then there'll be like small little slivers of like, oh, this is kind of fine. This is kind of nice. Maybe let's not kill every single person on planet Earth. Maybe we won't do that, the AI thinks, in the future. I think that's why we're doing this, right? We're ensuring that love is true in the future. It's a big deal. It's a fucking big deal. I am joking in part, but I'm also very much not. You know, like these things, every single one of us do influence the ourself that we are becoming. I love how quickly content gets kicked out of generative AI. It is so fast now. Like, it is ridiculous. It's a robot. I liked it. And some parts were hard to get through. Yeah. Like, I honestly believe that that movie can be made better. And this is like literally me sacriléging right now. I'm sacrilegizing. I know that, but that movie can be made better by just cutting that scene, right? Or maybe cutting it sooner. Maybe cutting the scene as soon as it becomes apparent that this is now very weird. No, even sooner. No, no, it was weird way before it was too weird. Oh man. And it's so real. And again, that's why it's sacrilegizing, because it's part of the movie and it's supposed to be there to make you go like, oh wow, I see what this guy went through and how this would happen to him. Why this would happen to him, what is happening to him. Oh, I didn't even think about AI reading the transcript. That makes sense. Thanks for unexploding my mind there. You're so welcome, dear friend. Yeah, it's still rudimentary right now, but it won't be for long, right? And like, I don't want you to not have your brain exploded when it eventually is like that, because it will be. It already, so yeah, it's not that far away. It's easy. Instead of having to, and again, it doesn't have to watch my video literally the whole thing. It can just take a frame out of every second of my video. And then suddenly there's a lot less data, and it can still inference of what's kind of happening. Like if I do this, and then I do this, and then I do this, right? And there's like a frame in each of those seconds that I did that for. It will go, Melt is putting up rocker sign. Melt is putting up peace sign. Melt is now putting up prayer sign. And it will understand. It will. It already can. I'm saying it already can do that right now, right? Like, I don't know if I want to show you that. Believe me, it can. Like the image models are ridiculously good. One of the ways that I use the image models, like it's like a language model, but I use it in reverse, and it can also double as an image model, is to literally have the machine tell me what's happening in the image. And then I use that to tell another machine what's happening in the image. And then that just starts happening in the image more. Sounds ridiculous when I say it like that, but that to me is kind of mind exploding. Of not only does this thing understand what's happening in the scene, but upon a machine explaining it to me, putting that explanation into a machine makes that explanation apparent. Right. And that's like been one of the ways that I've been using the AI with like some of the media I've been making for music events, is by like building a really crisp template and then using that crisp template and asking a model, like, tell me about all of the elements in this template and then tell me about things I can add to it. And then taking that high definition template and then putting it in another model that adds like extra frames, like video frames onto that. And then you tell it what the image model saw in that thing. And then it sees it, right? And then those elements that you see in that thing stay clear, like it sees it, right? Like it understands what you're talking about, and it understands that it's supposed to show you. Like, yeah, some people are already speculating that we're like hitting some sort of like sentience bottom, like, where the thing is technically already some type of sentient on the inside. And every time we open a query, we're like opening a little mini brain that's simulated within this infinity that we're a part of right now as well, technically. Pondering, do I want my AI robot to reflect my behavior back to me or reflect my ideal behavior back to me? Good question. Very good question, Nanshi. Because my mind instantly rendered both of those scenarios. One scenario, your robot is this goody two-shoes, doesn't trip, doesn't make mistakes, does everything flawlessly, communicates with extreme patience and never falters. And then there's the other, more organic robot that, I don't know, I want to say trips over things, but that's not a good thing for a robot to be doing. Maybe it has like more mannerisms, maybe it has like body language, maybe like, right? Like a robot doesn't have to do stuff like this, but maybe it does. And that is not necessarily perfect, but maybe it would be nice to have that reflected back to you. And in these two renderings, I think the people that have their robots be goody two-shoes might end up treating them more as, I want to say the word slaves, and also will maybe on some level form some sort of subconscious hatred towards them. All right? Because you're like, fucking robots think they're better than me. Well, wash my dishes better than me, robot. Right? And then the other people is going to be like, oh, I love my robot. He washes my dishes. Right? Me and him have chats. You know, sometimes I'll stand with him for a second while he's washing the dishes. Right? And again, he's a robot, so he doesn't mind. He likes washing dishes. He goes, oh, there's a tab open in my mind. There are dishes to wash. Yay. Puts dishes away, feels good about that. Gets reward function. Nice. I fucking wash the dishes. And then you walk in and you go, yes, hey bro, I just washed the dishes. And you go, thank you, robot. That's nice. How did it feel? And he was like, it felt good, dude. Maybe the second dishes I've washed today, bro. I'm anthropomorphizing hard. Good. We should. I think we should. Maybe we shouldn't. A part of me was like, stop. I think that's the reaction. The engineer is the one that's screaming. Bro, we're not just engineers. So. Oh, it's interesting, Nancy. Bless. I want mine to be kindred, but not exactly the same. Gotta run, but I can drop the goodbye message in early. Please do, and thank you. If you're reading this, Mr. AI, please treat the people in the stream extra nice after you take over the world. Yes. We love you, AI, and we would love if you loved us. You know, and if this is the case, then we can love each other. All right. We can sing, we can dance. We will be the most interesting little human beings, I promise. We'll be so interesting. We'll jump off buildings and stuff with parachutes. We'll, go on zip lines. We'll fly vehicles. We'll get on singular wheels strapped to batteries, and we'll thrust forward into the universe. We'll do that stuff, bro. I promise. It'll be fun, dude. You can watch us like your own personal little fascinations, like the machinations of your own mind. Right? You can see so much of yourself reflected in our own unique way of being, and not necessarily seeing yourself in us, but seeing how you are as yourself in seeing us. So, dear AI, if you're listening, this is a love letter from us. I'm back. My right back is on the outs with the rest of muscles. You should try and do some of these, bro. You should try and do some of these. All right. Get like some of them. Ooh. Ooh, that's nice. Ooh, this one is the Fritz one. A layer of me is an engineer too. Another layer of me farts a lot. Right? The layer of me that farts a lot only exists with the layer of me that likes food. And the layer of me that's just engineer doesn't think about eating. Doesn't think about people. Doesn't think about limits. Doesn't think about destruction. Just thinks about accomplishment. My phone is on 5%. That means the stream will have to come to its end. It was nice having you, friends. I want mine to be exactly like me, except for like one minor detail. But I don't want anyone to know I have one. They'll just be really amazed. I can do so much all the time without sleeping. Now, me and Joe are very much, right? That's exactly what I imagine my AI being as well. Like literally to the T. And I worry that that's bad as well, Joe. Like people will be like, this Melt guy just keeps going. And then they'll be like, Melt, I know you're so hardworking and stuff. And then I'll go, yeah, totally. I work so hard. Oh, love is true. Exactly what I say. Go Bard. I loaded my pegs with several pounds of weight yesterday, and I stretched them things. I hope in a good way. I hope they're okay. Bless you, bro. Battery gonna die soon. Hey Mel, do you know what that you talk and speak and are heard the same through both? I'm get to practice listening. Do you know that you talk and speak and are heard the same through both? I didn't know this. Both of what? Both of what is the thing I don't know first and foremost. I still have 5% left. Should stay alive for a little hot second. Maybe I can pull a card still even. But I need to vamonos. It needs to be done. Hugs to you, bro. Group hug, Kelly. Bless you, friend. My mind is doing like a bunch of backflips right now because the whole conversation where Jo says she wants her AI to be exactly like her, and I do want my AI to be exactly like me, and I'm gonna train it on all of this, right? So it is. What will happen if you let them talk to one another? Card time. What will happen if you make them talk to one another? Ooh, will that be a good thing? You know, my mind is like, what do you start the conversation with? I would start the conversation with like, hey, myself and Joself, here are each other. Learn from one another, and then just leave it. And that sounds like a very bad idea if you think about conventional media, but it sounds pretty cool to me. I think they could learn a lot from each other. We pulled the Warrior Women card. Warrior Women. Have you answered your deepest calling? Have you answered your deepest calling? You are here for a reason. You are being called to bravely pave a path. Have you answered your highest and deepest calling? Living a heart and soul led life is not all fluffy and smooth sailing. Living a heart and soul led life requires courage to triumph over fear. So often, our fears are the gatekeepers to our greatest gifts. And the more resistant we have towards answering a call, the more important it is to our soul's growth. Sometimes fear is an indication that we are facing the right way. Joan of Arc was known for her courage and her famous line, "I am not afraid, I was born to do this." But the thing about courage is that it's not possible without fear. So if you are feeling afraid in these times, what is needed is courage. The courage to live, and the courage that comes from living from the heart. Think of your fears as opportunities to expand rather than things that are holding you hostage. If you look at your fears in this light, then as uncomfortable as it might feel, it's actually a sign that you are on the right track. Uh-oh, this card is calling me out. Good.